T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
That is right. Women's Wrestling Talk, you are here. We are live on Twitch. It is your senior writer and host for this evening, Nickie Booshie, the one and only. Now, normally we do have our news come on a little early on Mondays. However, we decided to give you a little evening news depending on where you are. We want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been really a news all over the place. We've heard so many different stories, so many different things. But before we jump into that, don't forget, you guys, it is Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month here at Women's Wrestling Talk. We will be dropping content and articles every day, showcasing and featuring all of the women's wrestlers from that heritage. And it's really exciting to see. I'm a part of that team as well, so make sure you check out all of the articles from our amazing writers team. Now, let's get right on into it. Now, last week, unfortunately, you did not get your news on Thursday. So some of the news that you get today will feel a little old, but it's still in the new when it comes to news. So first and foremost, let's just talk about it. Mercedes Martinez is your undisputed ROH Women's World Champion after defeating Deonna Purrazzo, the Virtuoso, in her AEW debut on Wednesday night last week. And honestly, they tore down the house. I love the match. I kind of wish it was we had more time with the match. However, Mercedes gave it to Deonna, making Deonna tap and becoming the undisputed champion. And moving forward, Mercedes is now the face of what's to come of the Ring of Honor women's division. And honestly, I am very excited. So I have a question to those that are watching. Who is the next competitor for Mercedes Martinez? Who wants the opportunity at the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, World Championship at that? I'm very curious to see what you guys think. Me personally, I believe okay, I think I am back. We had some brief technical difficulties, it seems. I am checking the stream now, but hopefully you guys can hear me. We always have some crazy things that happen. So hopefully you guys, I am back. But yeah, I am very excited to see what happens with Mercedes Martinez and where she takes the division, what reign she has, what type of competitors that she would face. I think it will be Willow. I think it could be Britt Baker. It could be Deonna again. We never know. So again, congratulations to Mercedes Martinez for successfully beating Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuoso, which honestly, that's a accolade within itself, because not a lot of people have been able to do that recently, besides, of course, Ty Vackery, but we'll get into that a little later. Moving right along, Sean Ross Sapp sat down with recently released Persia from WWE NXT, and it was very exciting. They had a really good interview, and she just talked about her time, talked about different things, talked about different feelings. But one of the things that I noticed that she talked about was there was going to be a possible heel turn where she turns on Indy. And I think that could have honestly been a way to create a different feud if we would have seen that. She goes more into the interview. You can check out the interview now. It is available. And she just really talks about that being a possibility and where that could go, because, of course, we saw her and Indy, and they were all a part of the way, and so Indy is kind of the last one, so it would have been, honestly, I think that sometimes what happens in the releases is that we don't pay attention to certain people, and then after the releases, and I say we because it becomes a collective, like sometimes you just pay more attention to certain people, especially if they go somewhere else. And, we saw that happen this weekend too. But I would have loved to see Persia turn on Indy. I'm all here for a good heel turn. Honestly, look what it did to Dakota, I thought she was going to become a WWE NXT Women's Champion out of her heel turn, but that didn't happen. It still would have been nice to see what could have transpired, what type of feud Persia and Indy could have had in NXT. I think personally, it would have been big. It would have changed the landscape of everything, So make sure you check out the full interview that Persia does with Sean Ross Sapp. But we had a very interesting return this weekend at Impact Wrestling, Under Siege. And of course, shout out to my tag team partner in the comments, the originals, the undisputed, the most reigning, defending, the Salt Shakers, the most dominating tag team in women's wrestling talk history. And I will continue to say that. We will be making our way to GCW very soon. And so I'm excited about that. But yeah, we had a very, very interesting surprise after, and shout out to Ty Vackery, on her successful defense against, again, Deonna Purrazzo for the AAA Raina Del Reigns Championship over the weekend at Under Siege. That match was crazy. It went crazy. They really took it to one another. It felt like a rematch, but in the same sense, it almost felt like this was the first time that they were getting to really get down. I know they got down at Rebellion, but just seeing it in this manner where Deonna's doing the sneak attacks from the beginning to the end. What I find very, very interesting is that Mia Yim returns to Impact Wrestling, not on Tasha Steelz, the Impact Knockouts World Champion, who successfully retained as well against Havoc. She returns in the aid almost of Ty Vackery. And we see the music hit, the lights go out, the lights went out first, but you get what I mean. I wasn't expecting it to be on that term. I think that there's a lot of questions that a lot of people aren't asking now that Mia Yim has returned. I think people are just kind of looking at, oh, she's back, but there's a significance in her returning with Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo. I don't know what it is. I was at May Day, so you guys will get to see what happens, what's next for Taya for Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo, but more importantly, you will see what is next for Mia Yim as she makes her return back to Impact Wrestling as a knockout. Will she go after the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships? Will she go after Tasha? All in all, she's gonna make her decision, and she's gonna be very forceful on what she decides. And so you just have to keep on tuning in. But overall, I do think, I think it was what was needed. It was good timing. Under Siege was, for those that didn't go, that were thinking about going, I feel like they might have regretted in the long run, because it was a stellar card. But with this return, it just changes the dynamic, because she doesn't return. At Under Siege, Mia Yim did not return and say, hey, Tasha Steelz, I want to face you. In no shape. No, she returned, and we see it. You can check out the video on our page. I posted it. Mia Yim is in the ring with, of course, Taya, aiding to Taya, and then Deonna comes out. And I'll just say this: Mayday was absolutely chaos. Honestly, absolute chaos. And you guys will see this for the next 2 weeks. What happens, what transpires with the return of Mia Yim, and how important this is probably going to reshape what we go into when it comes to Slammiversary. Of course, Slammiversary tickets are on sale now. We'll be in my neck of the woods in Nashville at the fairgrounds, so make sure you get your tickets, because you don't want to miss it. On Thursday, this is not women's wrestling talk related, but on Thursday you will catch the new opponent for Josh Alexander, and we'll be going over all of the Impact stuff on Thursday, of course, with my tag team partner, the Salt Shakers, me and Santana. Moving right along, though, the last thing about Under Siege, we did have Giselle. We do apologize. Things happen. And child, look, there it is. But we're gonna move right along with all the shenanigans and everything. But yeah, So that happened too. Giselle Shaw defeats Madison Rain and everything too. Great show. Even with the surprise, with the knockouts, there was a lot that's gonna transpire that I'm so excited for you guys to see. But moving right along, so Thunder Rosa, your current AEW Women's World Champion, she was on Under the Ring, and she has some very interesting comments to say, about former champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, of course. And, she compares her feud with Britt to, Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I don't know how I feel about that, because I know that they had a long feud, but it's just like, I don't know. But those are her words. That's what she feels. She feels like that feud is on that caliber. Would, I don't know if it's incorrect to say, but it's just that's just what it can be a bit of, I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just gonna say, like, it was definitely like, it makes me want to go back, honestly, and watch Stone Cold and The Rock and watch their feud, and then watch the feud with Thunder Rosa and Britt, because I don't know. She said it, not me. So I want to know if Britt's gonna respond, or has she said anything. But I don't know. I don't that that's a little, that's how she sees it, and that's big. So we need to see Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker again, in my opinion. You know, I just, if you're gonna say that, then there needs to be some type of, I'm not gonna, well, proof would be the correct terminology, but it needs to be something more in depth, if that makes sense, because you know I'm gonna pull it up right here and see what she says. um just see what she says exactly. To Let's see if I can put it up right quick. I mean, basically, she's just saying it's something that she feels like would never end. I feel like the Rock and Stone Cold feud ended. Maybe that's just me. Okay, so every match that we had, it escalated to the next level. At first, we had our match that was a regular match at Beach Break. Then we had the tag matches and the blow off lights out. The rivalry that we had, it's real. Now that I took the title from her, it's not something that it's going to end. She goes on to say it's like The Rock and Steve and Stone Cold, something similar. She goes on to even compare it to Trish and Lita, something of that sort, something that is never going to end. Our matches were definitely more physical in terms of female wrestling. We pushed a lot of boundaries that I don't think people were used to seeing women in mainstream media doing something of that sort, especially on the last one. I probably watched it 10 times, and I cannot tell the amount of pain that everyone that was a part of that match went through. From the wrestlers to the referees, it was very intense, and we definitely had an opportunity to elevate women's wrestling to another level with it. And that was her quote from the interview that she did with Under the Ring, and the full article is on Fightful as well. Very interesting, I want to know what y'all think. Is and let me see if I can type this out. Is the feud between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. I'm going to say, can the feud be compared to feuds like Rock, Stone Cold? She also said Trish, Lita. So those who are watching live, let me know what you think. And then also for those who are just tuning in, if you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, we really appreciate you for following us and sticking along. But yeah, I just want to know, like, do you think that there is potential there? I think that it might be a little stretch, just a little bit. We need a little more. We do. We just need a little more. But moving right along. Of course, for those who are watching, well, and before we move on, let's see what we're getting in the comments. Let's see. I'm going to say no because of the time they took place. Rock, Austin, Trish, and Lita were incredible moments at the peak of the Attitude Era. I think Rosa and Britt will be its own beast. That's a good way to look at it, too. My tag team partner, I would rather say Trish and Lita. I would lean toward that more, too. Because honestly, I don't even know how long the feud between Stone Cold and The Rock was. I just know they had a feud. I would have to go back and actually, watch to really remember how long that feud was. But yeah, I mean, it definitely sparks conversation, so she may have been watching their feud and felt like, and the different aspects that she talks about The Rock and Austin and how their feud was. I can see where she could feel that out. But yeah, for the last portion, and of course we're here for you. A whole hour of news, a whole hour. So we're just gonna spend some time in WWE. Of course, because WWE always have stuff, breaking news, something going on. But I was, just going through, looking through the USA Network and stuff, and it was announced that Ms. and Mrs. will be getting another season, and I'm obsessed. I don't know about you guys, but I love the show. I think it's really fun. It's good to see them in a different light. They'll be going on their third season. And it's just, I mean, people obviously, I don't know how well they do in the ratings or whatever, but it's a cute show to have, especially for those that are, still watch cable programming, of course. Like if you're watching, normally they put the show on after Raw, So if you're watching, Ms. and Mrs. comes on, and if you like wrestling, you may not turn it. Even if you don't, even if you just like reality TV, you may, watch it. I think personally for me, yeah, I definitely enjoy the show too. I think it's just something, oh, I think it's like seeing wrestlers. A lot of us can be nosy, but then a lot of us just like to be entertained and just see different things and see different outlooks of what's going on. Now Miz and Maurice, how they met, their story is just so beautiful. And so seeing them on reality TV, it just makes sense because they've had kids now, they have a family, Miz is still doing his thing, Maurice has done, things, so it just, it just works, honestly. Like, that's it. Like I Yeah, but I think it just works. And yeah, I don't know. It comes on we'll see it come on June the 6th, and it'll be their third season, so make sure you check it out. You make sure you check it out. It'll be on USA Network. Let's see. I think if there's a couple that's prime for a reality TV show and would kill it, it would be Belair and Ford. I agree so too. I think Bianca and Montez would have honestly a phenomenal show. I would love to see what they do on a day to day. I know they go to the gym probably all the time, or work out at their own you know gym and stuff. I Whew, I don't know. Like, there's some other people that I would like to see too, though. I would like Zelina if it. Well, I know it can't happen now, but it would be nice if like Zelina, and Malachi Black. That would be nice. Um, he does. He definitely does. He definitely does. And I feel like they're like I said, they always just have that story. Um, they always have they make people wanna, they make people wanna watch. You know. But, move right along. Someone else who loves to make people watch as well is of course the boss, the blueprint, the standard. Your one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Sasha Banks, was in her town this weekend, over the weekend, Fenway Park, throwing out the pitch. I mean, looking so good. Like everything just, Sasha is really, we got to see her at the school for the wrestling club last week as well, before Friday night, before, her match with Shayna Baszler. But Sasha is really just, she's stepping out, and it's something different and it's something new. And I personally love to see it because it makes something different. But it's funny that she was throwing out the pitch because she calls out Mariah Carey. She even calls out Snoop Dogg. And then she calls out 50 Cent. What did 50 Cent do? Like, I was just confused. Like, and you know what? One thing about Sasha gonna talk her shit. Like Sasha is, and she gonna do that laugh, and you know what I'm saying. But for her to call out Mariah Carey, Snoop Dogg, and 50 Cent, I am very like, are they gonna say like, well, Snoop Dogg, of course, probably gonna say that. But like, if Mariah Carey says something to Sasha Banks, I'm like, I don't know, that's gonna be crazy. Like a little play feud with Mariah, and then Mariah comes to WWE. Lord, Mariah comes to WWE. Like, could y'all imagine Mariah Carey in WWE? Like, all because of Sasha Banks. All because Sasha Banks then called this woman out. But they said from the video she did a good job. Everything was cool. She threw it and moved right along. But like I said, she had some. The boss had some words. So WrestleMania, Sasha Banks, Mariah Carey. I don't know. Let's see. Mariah would be a heel walking out to her Christmas song. I think she would actually, and I'm gonna be really honest, she would actually walk out to Obsessed. And I think if Vince was told of the story behind it, I think Vince would be like, "Oh yeah, like let's let her come out in that because why are you so obsessed with me?" And then Sasha's in the ring. Let me stop because y'all know I will fantasy book all day. But yeah, Sasha Banks, she has some words for the people, and she may be looking for her next opponent. Who knows? But moving right along, So Trish was talking on the panel for the love of wrestling, and she was asked a question about coming back to WWE, and just certain things, but there was specifically one thing that she was asked about, and it was about a role as general manager. And she really she kind of jumped at the idea. Like, she loved it. She really did. And I'm trying to see if I can find what she says. But yeah, she was just talking about it, and she was just saying how she would love to be a GM. I think personally too, and I want to know what you guys think too. If Trish was to come back as a GM, who would benefit? Because I think honestly, it could help Liv Morgan. Like, Trish being the GM could actually do something for some of the superstars who don't have anything going on right now. Let's just be honest. Obviously we see Rhea debut her look, her very new look last night, leaving her friend in the mud. She said, girl, I gotta get the hell up on out of here. You crapping my style, you hold me back. All y'all really been holding me back. So let me go be with Edge, because Edge ain't gonna hold me back. Edge gonna put me in a platform. But I think Trish being the general manager would actually help some of the women, and we would see them, in these crazy backstage promos with Trish, and Trish is the GM, and we have GMs, but we really don't. That's not really a GM. That's really just an enforcer or whatever they're considered. But actually appointing her, and then Stephanie coming back, and Stephanie being all rude to Trish. I think it would work. And Trish made it seem as if she was ecstatic about it as well, and she talks about it. She talked about some other things as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mickie James had popped up too, and so they were talking and stuff, and so it was nice. And I think it's honestly a good idea to do, because Sonya as the whole, that's just, no, it ain't working. Let's see. Good question. I would assume Trish would be good for some of the NXT peeps coming to main roster, but anyone specifically, I'm all ears. I feel that too, because, and I'm sorry, y'all, I was screaming, y'all, at the Mayday, and I was screaming at Under Siege, so my voice is, child, I'm talking about gone. But no, I think it would be good. And here's the quote from Trish. This is what I was looking for. I do apologize. Do I want to be GM? I would gladly accept that role. I always think, like I said, to go back, it has to be something challenging, something different for you guys. You just don't want to see me being a baby face, kicking butt, winning championships, born right, guys. And I feel like that's true. I don't want to see her come back and get a run. Child, that would no. We're not gonna do that. Do we, or would you? I don't know. I can't read the crowd. I'm not sure what they want. What do you guys want? So she goes on to ask, she goes on to ask what does everybody else wants? Because Trish does come from an era where I feel like the fans were 100% the focal point. Everything that was done, even all the solicitation, as I like to call it, even all the, everything that was done, the bra and panties matches, the degrading, everything was done to please the crowd. They pleased the crowd in a lot of the, you know, before a certain time. But I do think like in Trisha's era, they did. They pleased the crowd with a lot of things, especially the male demographic. She goes on to, talk about Lita and Becky Lynch and, just highlighting them and just saying certain things. And I just personally feel like if she was to come back as GM, that would also build a match between or a feud between her and Trish. I mean, her and Becky, Trish and Becky. So yeah, that's available now too, as well. And yeah, just going back to Rhea because Rhea did debut her look last night, and child, it was a lot. Don't forget to check out the post show because we talked about that. Um, you don't want to miss my reaction because I didn't get to watch Backlash live because I was in at Mayday. But child, you don't want to miss that, please, because listen, I'm telling you. But last but not least, well, not last but not least, but before we get into the last story, Twitter is the field of just messiness and shadiness, and whenever a pay-per-view goes on, of course, WWE Backlash was the pay-per-view, last night, and of course, people hop on, people say certain things even before. We had some comments from two of the four horsewomen, one of them being Becky. And Becky was trying to, pretty much throw shade and say, when I was champion, the championship was defended on every pay-per-view. Now, I don't know if anyone has fact checked that or not. From my recollect, I think it's not too far to say that. I don't know if she ever missed one pay-per-view or who knows. But that was, to me, her way of saying, let's not forget who was the champion. So I do feel like with whatever she has going on with Asuka, we're going to double back down and go back to Becky and Bianca in some capacity. And of course, with Backlash and other premium live events hosted by WWE, there's always room for speculations of returns. Now, unfortunately, we did not see a return. A lot of people were expecting either Bayley or Asuka to make their returns. However, I'm sorry, not Asuka, but Alexa Bliss. However, Bayley took to Twitter and, basically let people know, like, I don't think y'all understand, like, what recovery really is. And I'm going to recover and y'all going to wait on me. And, people were crying on social media. They were saying that, they feel like Bayley needs to come back and save what's going on, and Bayley was like, I don't care about none of that. Like, I'm going to come back when I feel like the best time because it's all about timing. Honestly, that's the basis of it, You have to come back at the right time. You have to make it count, So before, we get out of here, of course, we have to discuss. We kind of talked about it on the post show, but it's still news to some who are waking up and, didn't watch Backlash and don't know or just don't check anything on social media. But Ronda Rousey, she did win the her first SmackDown Women's Championship last night. She defeated Charlotte Flair. And now she will go on to reign and find her opponents and see where she can dominate in this division. But however, it was breaking news as well because Kayla Braxton had made it be very known as well that Charlotte was injured after the match. And so now it is pretty obvious that Charlotte Flair will be taking time off. However, there's been a lot of speculations and different discords I've been in and different media outlets and saying different things. And we don't know for a fact, but we can speculate and allegedly there was saying that this was how she was going to be written off, to kind of the same way they did when she was written off with Nia Jax. And this is a way of her to go and get married and spend some time away and rebrand, but we don't know. This could actually be an actual injury. So we really don't know. But we do know that, Ronda won the championship last night. Charlotte is reportedly injured as of now. And now we wait and see what happens. Because we only got, there was 5 or 6 matches last night on the card, and there was one women's match, and it was a pretty good match. However, tomorrow on NXT, we have a lot going on for the women, and we will have a post show with Stephanie and Katrina as well, and I'll be giving you a rundown of that as well before we leave out of here as well. But don't forget to check that out on Thursday. But tomorrow, you guys, on NXT, we have Natalya going one-on-one with Cora Jade. Okay? And I really think that Natalya is about to teach these girls some lessons. And personally, my prediction is still going to be Cora Jade, because I do think that if she gets a victory over someone of the stature and will and veterans of someone like Natalya in NXT, that's crazy. But if Natalya wins, I'm not too opposed to it, because, I mean, anything is possible. So we never know what. To me, it's not a number one contenders match down the road, but I do feel like if you win this match, no matter what, you're gonna move on with an edge, no pun intended, to the next level, to being closer to the champion. We also have this match taking place too. And I believe the titles are on the line, but I'm going to double check. Let me check. Let's see. But yeah, it'll be Toxic Attraction, of course, and they'll be going face to face up against the new tag, which is so. I don't know. I don't know if I like this tag or not, but the jury's still out. I don't think the titles are actually on the line with this match. But if they are, who knows? I do think that Toxic Attraction will be walking away either way, the winners. Wendy Chu versus Roxanne tomorrow as well. And then we're also going to see Alba doing whatever the hell she going to do. I don't know. She scared me. I don't, listen. She be playing with fire, and child, she need to just stay on over there with all that, because for me, listen, don't be coming to the breakout tournament, and be trying to ruin it for people, because that's also going on too. That starts tomorrow, the women's breakout tournament in NXT, and I'm super, super, super stoked about this, because we're gonna see so many different women. And just honestly, I think this is a way to kind of, bring life back into the new talent, because obviously they've lost some people. They've lost some heavy hitters by choice, of course, everything that's been going on with Candice LeRae as well, free agent as of now. I've seen some different stories. I don't know if, you never know what's fake and what's not. But then I was seeing tweets about how that wasn't true or whatever. I don't know. All of it was just very confusing to me. And, that's the one thing about like contracts and releases and other things. It sometimes gets a little like dicey, especially when you're in the realm of trying to understand what's really going on. And then you have to realize that you're not getting the full story, so it's going to be hard for you to understand anyway. So it's kind of just like, well, all you know is you're not going to see him on TV. That's how I chop it up, basically for now. So basically, or you may not see them on WWE TV. You may see them like we had, with Mia Yim come back. You may see them on a different screen. But before we get out of here, you guys, thank you for tuning in to the news. Of course, we're here every Monday. We're also here on Thursdays for the news. Now, don't forget, Sundays, you have Turnbuckle Glam. Okay, so don't forget. And then tonight, we will be back. Monday Night Post Show with the most dominating tag team in women's wrestling talk history. Honestly, the Salt Shakers, of course. And then on Wednesday, you're back with AEW Dynamite with the Dynamite Dolls. And then again on Thursday with the Salt Shakers for Impact Wrestling Post Show. Now, don't forget, news again on Thursday, news again on Monday. Okay? Please don't get it confused. And we on Twitch. So make sure you're watching on Twitch. Make sure you're following. Make sure you got your notifications on so you know when we go live. And so that way you know. And then don't forget, Friday, of course, my tag team partner will unfortunately not be there, but Stephanie will be holding it down. And you never know. You may get someone else to pop up in there. You never know. Okay? And then we have some new shows coming on as well that will be released during this week. And then you will come right back again on Sunday. Okay? Don't forget, we did the Under Siege post show under this weekend. Over the weekend, we have footage from Under Siege as well. We will be having content from Mayday dropping for the next 2 weeks on our Instagram. So make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter at WWTalkPod as well. And again, don't forget, we have our post show that we posted last night for Backlash. We had a watch along as well. So there's a lot of more content for you guys to watch if you weren't able to catch it. And don't forget, we'll be back tonight. So with that being said, you guys, it is Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month here at Women's Wrestling Talk. And the writers team they're just killing it. Don't forget to check out the article about Mia Yim that we just dropped by our EIC and also my tag partner. Of course, so don't forget, we got a lot of stuff going on. We've updated the website. It looked cute, so check that out too. We have merch. Don't forget, get you a hoodie. It's cold places everywhere. I don't know why. The weather is crazy. But this has been, of course, your senior writer and host, Nickie Booshie, on Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet.